Today we're taking a look at these NHL matches, which are happening on Friday, April 7, 2023, and giving you our team and total picks for today. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and to push the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Also check out our Patreon if you want access to our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money, and if you are interested in props and parlay picks, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions. You will find the link to our Patreon and to our new channel in the description and comments section below. Miami Marlins vs New York Mets. The Mets will ride Megill in the home opener and force Cabrera out of the game early, as the Marlins starter will struggle again with command. New York will take advantage of its opportunities with runners on base, pushing a few runs home in the first 3 innings. The Mets bullpen will also shine in relief, sending the Marlins to the dugout with relative ease. Our team pick is New York minus 1.5 runs. In their opening 4-game series against each other, they had 2 games total exactly 8 runs, while the 2 others landed under that mark. The last 3 of those meetings had a total line of 8, just like this game, and the under went 2-0-1 in that stretch. The Mets seem to have forgotten how to hit of late, and Miami's arms looked okay enough against them last week. Cabrera didn't put together his best his last time out, so I expect a better effort there. The Marlins are out to prove something early this season and would love to spoil the Mets' home opener along the way, and the best way to do that is to limit their runs. The Marlins' offense already knows how to do that to themselves, so I don't expect much there. The under is 3-0-1 in the Marlins' last 4 games on the road. Take the under 8 runs. Texas Rangers vs Chicago Cubs. The Cubs stopped a 3-game skid by beating the Cincinnati Reds 3-2, third in NL Central, 12-5 on Tuesday afternoon at home. Third baseman Patrick Wisdom had 3 hits on the afternoon, including 2 double, and drove in 3 runs for Chicago. Center fielder Cody Bellinger also had 3 hits for the Cubs. Trailing 3-2 in the 7th inning, Chicago was in danger of losing their 4th straight, but erased the deficit by scoring 6 runs in the 7th inning and held on for the victory. Chicago batters had 16 hits in total. Cubs starting pitcher Hayden Wesneski lasted only 4.2 innings, giving up 3 earned runs on 6 hits. Chicago pitchers gave up 9 hits and 3 home runs to Reds batters. The rubber game between Chicago and Cincinnati scheduled for Wednesday was cancelled due to rain. Eovaldi pitched excellent on the road last year, compiling a 4-0 record with a 2.64 ERA in 10 starts. He had a great start to the season last year, going 1-0 with a 2.51 ERA in 5 starts in April. Chicago had a rough April in 2022, going 8-13 to start the season overall and 4-6 at home. They seem to be off to a similar start this year, losing 3 games in 5 tries so far. Stroman struggled for the Cubs in April last year, going 0-3 with a 6.98 ERA in 3 starts. He allowed 22 hits in 19.1 innings of work. Texas is currently ranked 5th in the league in runs scored per game, and Stroman had a much higher ERA at Wrigley, 5.25 in 2022, than on the road, 2.08, so look for the Rangers to touch him up for some early hits and runs. Texas is off to a good start, winning 4 of their first 6 games. Take the Rangers minus 1.5 runs. The Cubs ranked towards the bottom of the league in several key offense categories during the 2022 season: 4.06 runs scored per game, 22nd, 0.80 home runs per game, 24th, and ranked 20th in runners left on base. They did sign Dansby Swanson to shore up the offense, but he is not expected to carry the load for the Cubs, and they have continued to leave runners on base this season, currently ranking 26th in the league. Eovaldi pitched well in his first game with Texas, limiting the Phillies to 3 runs in just over 5 innings of work, and he has historically done well in the month of April, 2.51 ERA in 2022, and on the road, 2.64 in 2022. The Cubs have been limited to 1 run or less twice in their first 5 games this season. The Rangers or their opponent have scored 2 runs or less in 4 of their 6 games in 2023, and Texas was limited to 2 runs or less in 2 of their 3 games with Baltimore. Most signs indicate this matchup will turn into a pitcher's duel with few runs scored. Look for this game to go under the point total. New York Yankees vs Baltimore Orioles. Gleyber Torres has .421 .560 .789 line through 6 games, along with his 5 stolen bases. He's red hot and facing a pitcher that 4-9 against in his career. Aaron Judge's line is .348 .423 .609 through 6 games, and he's 4-7 with 3 homers in his career against Dean Kremer. DJ LeMahieu is hitting .30 right now and has gone 7-17 at the plate against Kremer. Those are 3 guys that could do serious damage in this game, while backing up a pitcher that has fared well against Baltimore in his young career. Factor in the bullpens, especially if both starters have a short leash, and this game is primed for New York to walk away with. Take them to win by a few runs. Our team pick is Yankees minus 1.5 runs. Considering how these teams have started the season, I have to take the over for Friday's game. The Yankees and Orioles are combining for 11.4 runs per game and allowing more than 8. New York's pitching staff has been very solid so far, but Clark Schmidt isn't exactly a top of the rotation starting pitcher, even if he did have success against Baltimore last year. These are 2 of the most powerful lineups in baseball, and they're both very aggressive on the base paths, too. Both teams should be able to generate plenty of scoring opportunities on Friday. The over has hit in 4 out of Baltimore's first 5 games this season, partially because their offense has been great and partially because their pitching has not. Against Baltimore last season, the Yankees hit 20 points above their season average, and they hit more home runs, 29, against the Orioles than they did against any other team. I'm siding with the over 8.5 runs. Cincinnati Reds vs Philadelphia Phillies. The Cincinnati Reds may be a few years away from contending, but it would be hard to argue that the Reds don't have 3 of the top young arms in the game in Hunter Green, Graham Ashcraft, and lefty Nick Lodolo. The Reds come into this matchup at 3-2, but have been off since Tuesday due to back-to-back rainouts. On Tuesday night, the Reds got home runs from Jason Voseler, TJ Friedl, and Stuart Fairchild, but couldn't hold a 3-1 lead and fell 12-5 to the Cubs. Luis Cessa went 5.1 innings and allowed 3 hits and 2 runs, but the bullpen couldn't hold the lead. The Philadelphia Phillies dominated the National League playoffs last season due in part to their dominance at home. On Friday, the Phillies will finally return home after starting the season 1-5 on the road. The Phils were swept by the Rangers in Texas, allowing 29 runs in 3 games. Philadelphia then lost 2 out of 3 games to the Yankees, only able to muster 7 runs in the 3 games. The defending NL champs now will return home hoping to find their swagger again. I'm going to take a more aggressive approach and take the Phillies with a run line. The Phillies finally head home after a rough start on the road, saw the Phils score an average of just over 2 runs per game after scoring 7 runs in the season opener. While Green can be dominant at times, he is still susceptible to high pitch counts, and his departure will expose the Reds' weak bullpen to the powerful Phillies lineup. Wheeler was dominant at home last season, with an ERA well below 2. Expect the Phillies to ride the good feelings of the National League Championship welcome from the Phillies faithful and win comfortably. Take the Phillies with the run line. The Phillies will turn to right-hander Wheeler to get them back on track in 2023. Wheeler is 0-1 on the season after allowing 7 hits and 4 runs in just 4.1 innings against the Rangers in his first start. Last April, Wheeler was slow out of the gate as well, going just 1-3 in 4 starts with an ERA of 5.79. Wheeler did not face the Reds in 2022, but is 1-1 against them in 5 career starts with a 3.13 ERA. At home in 2022, Wheeler was outstanding with an ERA of 1.85 in 13 starts. Our total pick is over the total. Seattle Mariners vs Cleveland Guardians. Sports betting is all about finding value in the market, which I think is clearly on Seattle in this game. The Mariners were minus 135 favorites when these pitchers squared off last week, and they are available as underdogs this time around. Gilbert was outstanding in the first matchup and was better than Civale over the course of the 2022 campaign, so I expect him to bounce back with a win on Friday afternoon. Seattle has won 8 of the last 12 meetings between these teams, including 4 of the last 5 in Cleveland. Our team pick is Mariners. Logan Gilbert and Aaron Civale lit it up for their respective clubs last week when these 2 clubs faced off. Gilbert gave up 1 run over 6 innings, and Civale fired 7 innings of no-run ball. Cleveland has been hitting the ball well through the first week, and they will get a few runs on Gilbert after he owned them last week. I expect both pitchers to struggle in this game. The total number has gone over in 4 of Seattle's last 6 games. Likewise, the total has gone over in 4 of 6 for the Guardians. Seattle showed signs of life when they scored 11 runs 2 days ago against the Angels. Take the over. Chicago White Sox vs Pittsburgh Pirates. Pittsburgh completed their sweep of the Boston Red Sox in Boston, winning the final game of the series by a score of 4-1. Santana went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, while McCutchen also went 2 for 4 in the victory. Brian Reynolds had the only other RBI in the win, but the pitching was excellent against a high-powered Boston offense. Mitch Keller threw 7 innings and gave up only 1 earned run while striking out 7, and the bullpen shut the game down. Rich Hill will be the starter in tomorrow's contest. As one of the oldest players in the league, he is still hoping to stay in the show as long as he can. Last year he posted a 4.27 ERA, and this year has not started out kindly for him. Hill gave up 3 runs in 5 innings pitched while striking out 7. 2 of those 3 runs were from home runs, so other than a few errant pitches, he performed admirably. O'Neal Cruz is the biggest name on the Pirates on the injured list. He is questionable for tomorrow's game as he is dealing with an eye issue. Austin Hedges and Robert Stevenson are also on the injured list that contain a total of 6 players. I like the White Sox in this scenario because I believe Giolito will come out looking to redeem himself after his first outing this season. Age is always a major factor at this point in Rich Hill's career, and it's hard to be sure how long he will go each outing. I have more confidence in the lineup of the White Sox as well, especially if Cruz is sidelined for the Pirates. The White Sox are going to be in a dogfight for the Central, while the Pirates will eventually settle back down to reality after their strong start to the season. The White Sox are 12-2 in their last 14 interleague games on the road, and the Pirates are 1-6 in their last 7 interleague home games. Our team pick is Chicago White Sox. Neither starter gives me great confidence that they will go more than 6 innings, and each pitcher has their own weaknesses that the offense can exploit. These two teams have relied more on their offenses to win games, and I expect that trend to continue. The Pirates have a few big names that are past their primes but still productive, while the White Sox have talent across the board, but it is a matter of if they all come together at the same time. The White Sox have hit the over in their last 6 games, and the Pirates have hit the over in 7 of their last 10 opening series matchup. Our total pick is over 8.5 runs. Houston Astros vs Minnesota Twins. Houston dominated Minnesota last season, but this is a good opportunity for revenge. Between these teams, the Twins have gotten off to a stronger start despite playing their first 6 games on the road, while Houston opened up at home. Houston's bullpen has not been dominant to start the season, posting a 4.13 ERA in games against the White Sox and Tigers. The loss of Altuve has also been an adjustment for the Astros lineup. I will back the Twins to get an opening day win behind Sonny Gray here. Our team pick is Minnesota Twins. Last season Minnesota finished 3rd in the AL Central with a 78-84 record. Better things are expected as according to Vegas Insider Minnesota is expected to finish 2nd in the AL Central with an over-under win total set at 84.5. The Twins opened the season with 4 straight wins, sweeping the Kansas City Royals in 3 games and beating the Miami Marlins 11-1 to open up the second series. After the hot start, the Twins lost their last 2 games against the Miami Marlins 1-0 and 5-2, but now they get to play at home for the first time this season. Since 2015 the Houston Astros have won the World Series twice, 4 AL pennants, and 6 straight ALCS appearances. In 2022 Houston won 106 games, beat the Mariners and Yankees in the postseason, and the Phillies in the World Series. The roster overall is still loaded, but the Astros did lose Cy Young winner Justin Verlander, 18-4. 1.75 ERA in free agency to the Mets. Even with Verlander gone and Jose Altuve starting the season on the Illinois, the Astros still entered the World Series as the consensus World Series favorite. The Astros have not gotten off to a fantastic start. After splitting a 4-game series against the White Sox, Houston dropped 2 out of 3 games to a Detroit Tigers club that is expected to be one of the worst in baseball. Houston did beat Detroit 8-2 on Wednesday and now have had some extra rest before they play on the road for the first time this season. Our total pick is over.